Greetings, YouTube. Welcome to episode 30 of the Encyclopedia Magica Volume 1. Let's see how far we are into this. Do I have the book right? I have the book upside down. That's not going to get me very far now, is it? Here we go. And we are into the bees. Woohoo! I think it's maybe the first bee we've got. Yeah, 'cause it's got the big bee on the top of the page. So I think this is the first bee we have. And we're going to start out with badges. Um, sorry about the trout in the background. It's my dryer. It explains you what a badge is. I don't think I can do to explain what a badge is. Do you folks? Do I? And of freedom. This is XP 500 value 1000. That's a strange ratio. From the ruins of Undermountain. This small pin is fashioned of any metal and takes the shape of a pair of tiny wings above an open shackles. Worn or carried of the person, it allows the being or another being touched by it to be freed of paralysis, cold, repulsion spells, and effects. That's kind of cool. Webs of magical or mundane nature, chains, bonds, and the like. The item does not make the bearer immune to the above experiments. The badge of freedom must be activated by the conscious will of the wearer. So it's a get out of jail free card, literally. It's a one-off. So that's still for 1,000 gold pieces. That's not a bad price. I mean, if you know you're going to be in a dangerous kind of situation like that, and let's face it, adventurers often are. We have Badge of Monster Control, 200 XP, value 1000. This is from Dungeon Magazine 11. During the construction of secret conventicle to gain secret conventicle? I don't think I've ever seen that. To gain control over the monsters' denizens of the sewers. That is a weird word. Conventicle. Conventicle. Like, I don't know. Each gives the wearer the ability to control any monster up to a total of 30 H dice within 60 feet radius. It allows communication with monsters. Control is otherwise identical to the Charm Monster spell. The control includes humanoids, goblins, orcs, and gnolls. So I guess they're differentiating humans and demi-humans, or creatures with an intelligence of 12 or above who have more than 6 hit dice. The control, but it includes monstrous humanoids, goblins, orcs, and gnolls, which is somewhat discriminatory in my book. Monstrous humanoids are humanoids, and they are fully sentient, sapient beings, you know what I mean? So, yeah, don't like that. And we have a section of bags, and you have a nice little chart to roll things on. The backpack of holding, that seems pretty self-explanatory, but 2,500 XP, 25,000 GP, Dungeon Magazine 73. Ordinary leather backpack. This pack contains an other dimensional space. It allows up to 30 cubic feet of material to be placed. This is just, handy haversack, and that seems really pricey for that. That's just me. We have the bag of beans, which is kind of a classic. This bag, constructed of heavy cloth, is about 2 feet wide and 4 feet long, the size of any other large bag or sack. Character who opens it will find several large pebble-like objects inside. Okay, that's a big bag. 2 by 4. My workbench in the basement is 2 by 4. That's a big surface, and you just be looking for little pebbles inside? I can get it, a bag of beans, but I've never considered bag of beans to be that size. To me, bag meant like, not much bigger than a lunch bag. You know what I mean? Like, that's the size of a paper lunch bag. That's kind of the size I thought it was. Okay, well, whatever. Character who opens it will find several large pebble-like objects. Is spelled out of the bag. They explode for 5d4 damage each. Ooh, okay, that's not good. For safe removal, the beans must be taken from the bag by hand. Telekinesis won't prevent them from exploding. Trying to work them out with tools is also useless. If If planted and watered, each bean sprouts a creature or object. Bags of beans generally hold 3d4 beans, only one of two of which are beneficial. The other sprouting monsters are useless things. For example, what we got going on here? This is going to be I guess 7 options, which is a strange spread. Bean number 1, 3 streakers spring up and wail. 2, an ice storm strikes the area. 3, a poisonous raspberry bush with animated runners shoots up. 4, a hole opens in the ground, a purple worm or a Dijin ring may be below. You could just do both of those. Do a purple worm and afterwards you find a ring in the bottom. Smoke and gas covered an area within 50-foot radius for 5 turns. Remember, a turn back in the old first edition game was 10 rounds or 10 minutes, because rounds were a minute long back then. Yes, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. 6-second rounds make a heck of a lot more sense in my book. I've seen games that I think I may have encountered a 1-second round, but I think most of the games I've seen, the shortest were traditionally like 2 to 3 seconds. 6 seems comfortable to me. 6, a wyvern grows instantly and attacks. Its sting is a javelin of piercing. That's kind of cool. After you kill it, its sting turns into a magic item. I like that. It's cool. And 7, poisonous gas sleeps out. That's also not good. Thought, imagination, and judgment that a DM are required with this item. In Ravenloft, each bean has a 20% chance of sprouting a Ravenloft encounter. All right. Then we have a bag of beans too. Oh, this has got a lot more options going on here, folks. This is 1000 XP, 5000 GP from Dragon Magazine 171. So we're gonna. This is like, how long is this list? Holy poop nuggets. They went all out on this one, folks. This is an actual 100 item list long. I am impressed. I am not going to read them all, but we'll do a sampling though. How's that? We'll start with number 1. A toadstools, 10d10 of them grow from the ground, and if they are eaten, 50% chance they are poisonous, and 50% chance they are good berries. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's jump to 7. It sprouts bubbles. The first person who drinks from, or spring bubbles up, drinks from that has his or her age reduced by 1d10 12 years. Additionally, additional drinks aids the drinker by 10d12 years per drink. So yeah, you drink it once, that's it. The first person. So I guess that's good, unless of course you're starting out in a first level campaign and they just happen to stumble upon this by mistake. Suddenly they're children. That would be funny. Let's go to Magic 13, and conjured animals begin to rise from the earth. One animal of the DM's choice appears each round until a total of 24 hit dice have arrived. They remain until slain or 24 rounds have elapsed. They behave as if they were under the confusion enchantment. If the result is act like normally for 1 round, the animal obeys the wishes of the bean planter. That could be a bit of goddamn chaos, now couldn't it? Let's switch over to the next page. Pardon me. Sorry, just checking my time. 25. A female arm wielding an impressive sword of random type thrust up from the ground in the style of the famous Lady of the Lake and Excalibur. The sword can be taken only by the bean planter, after which the arm descends back into the earth. If the planter is a paladin, this is the moment you'd give them his or her Holy Avenger. Otherwise, a weapon is a Sunblade. Sunblades are really cool, man. They are very cool. That's a powerful thing to roll. All right, let's roll over to 39. A hostile earth elemental pops up. To make matters worse, the planter of the bean and the elemental swap mental consciousnesses. Thus, the planter's body goes about pummeling people, while the planter must make do as an elemental form. If either the planter or elemental are destroyed, this malady becomes permanent. So that's intriguing. So that's the one way you could end up having a player character be an elemental. That's cool and maybe potentially limiting in some ways, but that could be quite fascinating. But I don't understand why the elemental would necessarily be hostile. I guess it's a part of the magic, but elementals in general wouldn't necessarily be hostile. I think that might depend on who the planter is. You know, if you're a dwarf, maybe they're not as hostile. Maybe if you're a cleric with like earth domain, maybe they're not hostile at all. You know, I'd have to adjudicate that one myself a bit before I made that. Let's go to 57 because you know that is my channel in my channel name. Sorry for that. 57. Mist rises from the ground and after 1d4 plus 1 rounds takes on the form of a dragon. The dragon breathes, and dragons in quotations, a breath of blast of steam and vapor in a cone. It cannot be attacked except by magical electricity, which causes the cloud to fade away while it is forming, only to reappear behind the bean planter 1d4 hours later. So that could be somewhat annoying, but also intriguing. Let's jump to 71 because it's the last entry on the next page. A Pisces, a unique wooden box of intricate design, appears in place of the bean. It is worth 5,000 GP. If it is opened, a horde of 10d10 grotesque monsters pours from the box at the rate of 1d4 monsters per melee round. Is this like the whole Pandora's box thing? The Pisces may be shut only with a strength roll of bend bars and lift gates. These monsters could include aboleth, beholders, bullets, giant crabs, all kinds of different possibilities in here, and they would all be very, very dangerous, particularly if they are of intelligence. If all monsters are allowed to escape the Pisces, the person who opened the box is given one wish, but the wish cannot undo the opening of the Pisces. It's Pyxis. I have no idea if I'm saying that properly. I apologize. Let's go to 86. The bean transforms into a ball of soft pastel light that floats up from the ground and approaches the nearest character. If the light is allowed to touch a character, each item worn must save versus disintegration or be transmuted into a non-magical glass. But the character adds 1 point to the lowest ability score. That could be a very, very bad scene, depending on what gets lost in that. Just to get your dump stat raised by 1 point. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are going to see that as a win-win. And number 100, or in this case, it's listed as 00. A two-handed dancing sword rises from the ground and begins to strike at random targets. Though no physical attacks can harm it, it is affected by magical attacks, such as fireball, lightning bolts, and or transmute metal into wood. That's kind of dangerous. Okay, where are we going now? How far am I into this thing? I'm in 13 minutes. We're going to wrap up this page right here, and then we'll end on the second one, the next one. Okay, so we have the Belt Pouch of Disappearance. No XP, 1250 GP from Polyhedron 47. This highly dwemered belt pouch acts as a bag of holding, 200 GP, but it is actually cursed. Once every 24 hours, the pouch opens a rift into the astral plane and dumps its contents, closing 1 round later. Living things can fall through the rift only if they are small enough to fit inside. Rats, birds, or characters using diminutive magic. So it could be a good one-way exit from an area, I guess, if you want to get rid of something. It's a cursed item. That's not necessarily something that couldn't be used. Say you need to get rid of something, and you need to get rid of it, and you don't want to make it look like it's anywhere around anymore. You just need to dispose of it. Could be a handy way to do that. We have the Bag of Bones, 3,000 XP, 15,000 GP. Excuse me. Tome of Magic. This item, usable only by priests, is a small, ordinary leather pouch that contains a... Sorry, my screensaver kicked in. A number of tiny bones. When the bones are scattered over a 40 by 20 yard area, that's a weird... Okay. The word command is spoken. A unit of skeletons immediately spring from the ground. This unit comprises 8 battle system rules figured skeletons. It doesn't really matter. You can figure that out on your own. The unit unconditionally obeys the combat orders of the priest, never checking morale. They fight until totally destroyed or until the sun sets, at which time they remain skeletons crumbling into dust. Roll 1d100 on the table below to determine the type of bag found. The first is a 1 to 66. The bag is a one-shot magic item. Once the bones are used, they are gone forever. And then 67 to 100. The bag magically replenishes itself every sunset if the bones have been used. That's kind of cool. It only works within a battlefield full in the heat of battle. So this is something you'd use in war. And there's a specificity here. It says in Ravenloft, this bag can be used to create a small army of skeletons. The bag works in battles where at least 100 creatures per side are involved. It also said this user must also roll a Ravenloft powers check. I don't know what that means. So we're going to call it there. Good there. We'll pick up the next time with the next item in the bag category. So this is kind of cool. Sorry, that one entry was rather long, so we didn't get as many things in this time. But thank you for being here for episode 30 of the first volume of the Encyclopedia Magica. I hope that you are enjoying yourself. I'm finding these fascinating, and at current rate, we're about a quarter of the way through the first volume, and it's been 30 episodes. So let's say 120 episodes per volume. That's 480 episodes to get through all 4. This is going to run for a very long time.